Okay, I want you to try this to start creating content. Hey everybody, welcome back to the pod. I'm Mike Dreyden Figueroa. This is Unscripted and Unrehearsed, where I give you my take on the state of events, things I've heard, seen, and experienced throughout the past week. Yeah, this week's episode was to be dedicated to all of you, my watchers, visitors. And I say was because all the platforms I checked, not a single question came in for the AMA episode, Ask Mike Anything. And I thought maybe a couple of questions would come through, but hey, it's all right. Not many people have a lot of questions. I also think that the way the algorithms are set up now, it is really hard to break through. And not that I'm looking for a huge amount of views or a lot of interaction. I would like some just to, keep this going and grow and advance for the other projects that I'm working on. But nothing came through, and I put it out there. So a couple things. I decided to explore for you guys who happen to come upon this, how to start creating content. But first, the major news of the week that really a lot of passings, a lot of death, and I hate to say it, but it's just that the older that I get, and I know a lot of these people are not in the current ethos of a lot of young people's consciousness. It's just the creators that I follow and have been fans of since I was a kid. And one of those was Rob Reiner. Now, when I was a kid, Rob Reiner was, he played Michael Stivic on All in the Family. Now, All in the Family was based on a family from Queens, featuring Archie Bunker, Edith Bunker, their daughter, I forgot her name, and their son, who I can't remember his name either, but he was called Meathead, dead from the neck up, as Archie would say. So the reason the show is very, very funny, but it was very true to what life was here in New York City in the five boroughs, as far as I know, because I saw my grandmother in Archie and the way she spoke. And she didn't always say those things in public, but around the family, she said a lot of those things, which my mother would say, "Ma, you can't say that," or "Ma," and then she'd point to me and my sister, like, they have colored people, stuff like that. But my grandmother was, once we came along, I think she was a different person from what my mother had as a mom growing up. But I had a lot of great memories. So Rob Reiner was great on that show, and he was always the antithesis to Archie, and where he was this progressive person, where Archie was stuck in his ways, right? His racism and his bigotry and all of that. So he passed away, and it was a very terrible way to go, and it hit me hard. And as details have come out, I just tried not to listen because I didn't want to know the details, but it was very tragic. But this is why I also was still a fan of his. A lot of the movies that became, what's the word? Not iconic, although they are. They've become part of the Americana. What's that word I'm looking for? They are woven into the American way of life. I'm trying to say, I guess. For instance, this is Spinal Tap. Mostly improvised. I only learned recently. Mostly improvised, but hilarious and ridiculous, but great. Then there's Stand By Me, which, as a young kid, I'm watching these actors who are these young guys. They're very young, far younger than I am. Grow up into incredible men and incredible actors. But watching them, I could see myself as when I was a little bit their age, exploring Greenpoint and Williamsburg on my bicycle, just getting lost until the streetlights came on and I had to hustle home. But I did those things, and a lot of and there was the neighborhood bully, and then there was no dead bodies, but you know, a lot of adventures. And then there was, of course, and that was in 1986. 1984, he did Spinal Tap. And then came The Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite movies. I can't tell you how, I know there's a lot of you out there who know that. The joy I get watching The Princess Bride, which I found by accident because there was nothing to see and I was bored and I just picked it up at the video store. Yes, there was a place you went and got videotapes that were like this big and you put it in a machine that was that big and you watched the movie for a couple hours. And it became huge, huge. And that was in 1987 he did that. Then Misery in 1990, which I thought was, I'd never heard of this Stephen King novel, but I thought it was interesting and it was getting a lot of buzz. It was in the movies and then it was on videotape. So, oh, let me check this out. Huge not Michael, shoot, what's his name? He played Sonny in The Godfather. Khan is his last name. Huge fan of his. And then here's this woman, Kathy Bates, who I'd never seen before, who was playing this lunatic, and she was brilliant. So much so that I was like scared. She really scared me. Brilliant performance. And that he also directed that, and that was 1990. Then of course the major, this is all before the 2000s, for the new millennium, folks, 1992's A Few Good Men. Huge Tom Cruise fan, huge Demi Moore fan, huge Kevin Bacon fan, and of course, okay, I'm at a loss for words and names because I've only had a sip of coffee. I need more coffee. Jack Nicholson, see, magic of coffee. Jack Nicholson fan, huge. And plus, there were a lot of peripheral actors in that film that some have gone on to do incredible things and not. So yeah, that hit me hard because it was not what I expected to hear. I'm looking at my calendar, like it. Sometimes I wonder if I'm a conspiracy theorist because the way the description of how they were found, I don't know. It doesn't sound right. However, I mourn because a great artist and his wife were taken from us too soon, and his family is going through a hard time. I don't wish these kind of things on anyone. We struggle enough with our everyday, day-to-day as it is. This one thing, it's not what I want for anybody. Then, of course, there's Anthony Geary, who passed. Now, for those of us who are huge General Hospital fans, which I was not so much, but because of the fad of the Luke and Laura years and everything they went through, and then they finally got together and they got married. He played Luke Spencer on General Hospital, and Jeannie Francis played Laura. Jeannie Francis is married to Jonathan Frakes, who played Will Riker on Star Trek. See how I brought that around? Everything just comes back to Star Trek. Okay. So yeah, he passed away. And I just started remembering too all of the craze for Luke and Lauren, how we would rush home after school to watch soap operas. Good morning, Missy. So for those of you listening, Tony Girl has joined me on my desk, and she's gonna get in front of the camera. Now she wants to curl up on my desk. Like I said, I could be. Move your tush, please. So yeah, it just reminded me how much I loved soap operas and how much I wanted to be on soap operas, and the Luke and Laura craze and fad. Nice. And then so I started thinking, oh, I just had a memory that's not in my notes, but so my mom used to work for an allergist, and his office was like on 72nd and West End, and a lot of soap actors used to go to him. And there was one, I forget his name, but he was on As the World Turns, and that was my all-time favorite soap, and I wanted to be on that. Second to Young and the Restless. And he Max is chewing on his toy now. He brought a script from an episode signed from As the World Turns that I just love. Do you mind? See, why is this happening? I don't know if you guys can hear it. So there was that. So I started going down the list of soaps that I love. So it in this order. Well, first of all, my mom used to send us on the Fresh Air Fund uh, summer camping trips. And basically is inner city kids would go spend a week or two with a family in the burbs. So I ended up in Canaseraga County, New York, which is 60 miles southeast of Buffalo. I still remember this. I was 11 years old, and I stayed with the Earls, who I miss terribly. They were Mrs. Earl and Mr. Earl were wonderful. So this is what I learned from these beautiful people. Mrs. Earl was involved in the church, so she gave me a book of Psalms, and while I was there, I got to go to their services, and they wanted me to memorize a psalm, so I did a psalm in church one Sunday. I was there. She also taught me piano. She had a regular piano to practice on, excuse me. And she had an organ that lit up, the keys lit up, so you could have a book with the letters and you just match the letters. And I was playing, I learned how to play. And then she transferred me over to the piano. But I was there for 2 weeks. So the first week I was doing the organ with the light up keys, mostly. Well, it was one of those electrical things. You could be an organ or a piano. And then she moved me over to the piano. And then I did play at the church, which I thought was kind of cool. She also taught me how to sew, and basically it's just a simple stitch to connect two pieces of material. And to this day, I use that double stitch knot pull thing to fix a hole. All these years later. But Mrs. Earl was a huge Young and the Restless fan. She turned me on to the Young and the Restless. So what in the afternoon, after breakfast, we did stuff before Mr. Earl would come home from whatever he was doing, I guess work. We would watch soaps and sew little thingies that she made tchotchkes for people, and I got a kick out of it. But I was so enthralled with soap operas. So Young and the Restless. Mr. Earl taught me how to chop wood. It's fun, and I got to see a bear. I'm having a memory of love that I can't express. That was the best summer ever. One of the best. So in this order: Young and the Restless, As the World Turns, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital. I was into Bold and the Beautiful, Guiding Light, and Search for Tomorrow, but those were not the anyway. So Anthony Geary has passed on, and that's another generational thing where as I get older and I lose friends and connections to the past, it just brings back memories of a time that was far simpler. And I'll be honest, before these devices and everything, life was just exciting and where it was so exciting that you couldn't wait to tell someone what you did or experienced. And then, of course, a sci-fi death. It happens in threes, people. This is true, I believe it, but there's so many others. But these, Gil Gerard, who, for those of us who are sci-fi geeks, who played Buck Rogers in the 24th century, whatever. He passed away, and that show was so incredible. Where I'm like, oh, I hated the 80s so much. There was a lot of time travel stuff going on. So there was, of course, Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Then there was Back to the Future, and then a couple other time travel shows. I'm like, oh, I want to go to the future. I want to see what it's going to be like. It'll be better. And I'm here now, and I'm like, it could have been. It's just a lot of people fucked it up. So yeah, that was the majority of the womp womp of the week. And I'm like, the year is ending and all of this is happening, and I'm like, at least they don't have to suffer through the nonsense we're going through right now. Celebrity interaction. So, I mean, I don't know how many of you will get this, but all I know is, let me put it to you this way. The scene in Avengers Endgame, when they all come together and you see that video that went viral of the audience going crazy as, the portal opened, and then you see Black Panther come through, and then uh, Condor, no, whatever, he comes flying through, and then it's like bananas where everybody comes through, like one of the epic comic book scenes that you could ever have. Well, Iron Man came to see chess. All right, Robert Downy Jr. came through. So security came through. They bring some. Usually, what happens when big celebrities come through, we scan their tickets ahead of time, and we give it to them, and then just walk them in. But today, this was like, I guess, a last minute thing, or they forgot or whatever. So security, one of my buddies in security, came. I'm like, all right, who's coming? Because usually when he does that, it's a big deal person. He's like, Robert Downey Jr. I'm like, all right on. I'm like, bring him to my door. So they arrived. I think his daughter was with him. I'm not quite sure. And I looked up to see what his daughter looked like, but I don't know if it was, I don't know how many kids he has. I don't know. But there was more people, but I was so fixed on him because he had like a gray mask that was far more conspicuous than just having a plain, black or whatever mask on. But it was like a gray one that came like this. And so I'm like, hello, sir. He was like, hey, how are you? But it like, okay, for me, I know when people recognize me or they want to interact with me, not that I'm anywhere near this level, I'll stop and say, hey, what's up? Thanks for, whatever. But I guess they get it so much where they don't want to interact. Of course, he's there to see a show, and the show is starting, and it's not the greatest moment, but and it's like, okay, obviously I know them. They have no idea who I am. They just discovered that I exist. Same as, we all discover other people that exist. And I don't know. I just get a little bit disappointed when they don't get excited to see me, because I'm excited to see you. All right, whatever. That's nuts. At least I acknowledge it. Okay, coffee. Okay, so there was that. And he's, okay, so it's very true how the camera adds 10 pounds, because this man is skinny. He's skinny. Unless he's working on a new project and he had to drop weight, he's skinny. You can see it in his face too. Same deal with Kate Mulgrew when she came through last week. Very trim and, all right, so this is the other ridiculous thing that I heard, but I might look into this because I think all pet parents should have this option. Now, there's a woman who reported on 1010 Wins, it's a radio station here in New York, who is suing the IRS because she wants to claim her pets as dependents. She's spent hundreds, I'm reading my notes. According to her, she spent hundreds of dollars on pet food and vet visits, and she'd like to be able to recoup some of that money. However, according to the IRS, your pets are considered property. Now, if we want to get philosophical about it, I don't consider Tony Go, who's laying right here, and Mr. back there, I don't consider them property. I consider them living beings I take care of, and they're my friends, and they're my depend. I look at them as my kids. They get on my nerves. They piss me off. Yes. And they bring me lots of joy more often than not. And I think that's what raising kids is like. I've gotten on my parents' nerves. I've pissed them off, but I suppose maybe I brought them more joy than not. Why shouldn't we? Do you know how expensive a friggin' vet bill is? Excuse me. Pardon me. I maxed out their emergency fund already, and I'm like, all right, got to dig out from under this because I'm going to need it again. But I should be able to, we should all be able to write some of that stuff off, We agree to take care of them, and not that we have to, but, what's the difference between progeny and adoption? No, he didn't. Oh my God, you guys. Max, what did you do, Baba? Okay, so okay. Here. Don't eat the plastic. Oh my God. He's just all of his toys, all of his toys get destroyed because even the power chew toys that made to, for power chewers, he's torn them apart. Hold on. Here's a neighbor's toy that he took because, he doesn't know how to let go. Look. Look. There's a thing in there that was supposed to light up or some shit. I don't know. I found batteries. I'm like, where the fuck are these batteries from? There's a little thing in there. I hope he didn't eat the batteries. But look, these are supposed to be indestructible. Not the case here. Anyway, no, it's not the ball. All right. So, yeah, I want to claim these kids. I want to be able to. Well, I'm trying to keep up on that because if she's suing the IRS for this, I want to see how far she gets because, there's two things that are a constant in the universe as far as we know it right now, and it's death and taxes. And hey, why not? It would go a long way too, because that money you could, the extra things that you write off, you could always just put it to the side or you get some of it back, whichever way it works. And of course, on Friday was, I don't know if you participated, but it was National Ugly Sweater Day. I didn't do it this year. So yeah, so it's the third Friday in December, in case you ever wanted to know. There it is. Send me pictures of your ugly sweaters from 2025. I would like that very much. I want to see. I think that last year I got one. It's like this muscle dude on it. And it says pain and gains, some stupid shit like that. All right, so here we go. I really, and I had to do this on the fly all over again because as I was going through everything, hoping there would be some questions to answer and participate in for this week's post, which is, by the way, this is the first day of winter and it's a little springy outside. I thought, okay, a couple things hit my mind, and I was talking about mentioning this on the live post I did on I think Wednesday. Maybe I'm shadow banned, and I'm not quite sure if I am. Uh, so what I did was I used ChatGPT, and I think the prompt was something like, if you wanted to start a podcast and you created blah 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 blah, did all this, and you posted it, and you weren't really getting any traction. What would you do to go about finding out if you've been shadow banned? So it came back. There's really not such a thing as being shadow banned, but this is what I would do. Blah blah blah. You could start looking here. You can start there. Have your friends try this, who you're not connected to socially on social media, and see what comes up for them. So I'm trying these experiments, and I know I consolidated a lot in there just now. And maybe I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put in the show notes the prompt that I asked and the feedback I got, because maybe you can find out too for yourself if you've been shadow banned or if you're not getting through to people you want to get through to, or engagement. Because ultimately, the way this has evolved, whereas instead of you sharing your creativity, I don't know why I said that. I'm trying not to be Brooklyn. Your creativity with your friends and family, because that's what it was like before. Everybody you were connected to, that's all you saw. And now it's like just ads and people you don't know. And it's like, okay, it's a lot. I just want to know what my friend in Berlin is doing. And I hardly ever see any of his posts. I have to go to his page to see what he's doing. It's annoying. Anyway, you can find out. So I'll put that in the notes so you can figure it out. So I thought, okay, what would be a beneficial post to talk about? And I thought maybe where you could go to, or how you would go about starting to create content. The first thing you need to do is just start recording, because I think I mentioned this in past posts. The I think we all have if we really want to do this, we all have this insecurity of maybe nobody will like it, or maybe I'll be wasting my time, or you feel some sort of imposter syndrome, or who am I to do this? Who would give a shit? And I've felt it. I've thought about it. It's part of the reason why Morning Kofifi stopped, and then it became Morning Joe. I wanted to go back to Kofifi, but just invoking that idiot, I just don't want that in my energy. Um, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because he's tearing that thing apart. And there's foam everywhere. So I put together some ideas on what you can do. So first and foremost, pick up your device and just start recording yourself. Don't worry about lighting, don't worry about any of the feature stuff now. Just make it what you want. Figure out what you would like to talk about and just start. But let's talk about, I guess the way they describe it is a niche, right? And I don't want this to be cliche where a niche becomes this big amorphous thing that you have to find your expertise in this niche. It's not exactly that, I don't think. I like to talk about stuff that I experience. I like to talk about theater and music and fitness. These are things that bring me joy. So whatever brings you joy, do that, right? Okay. But niches, as far as I think, and the way I've gotten a lot of my ideas and followed the different people in those niches for inspiration, are educational and tutorial. Whereas you're teaching a tech course. If you're an expert in some idea of tech, or for instance, if you're a whiz in Excel, which for many years I've been using Excel, but I hardly know how to use the damn program, and it can do so much. If you're an expert in Excel, start doing Excel tutorials. There's a lot out there, but maybe you're not getting through, and maybe you can get through, or whatever. You can do how-to videos, simple, like how to use Excel, or whatever, how to create a bustle, or a bodice, or whatever. How to sew a hem, how to do that, and DIYs, all of that. Educational tutorial, that's a niche right there. So if you feel like you have something to contribute to something, go for it. Then there's the informative. There's a lot of people in the news. All right, I don't know if you can hear that, but hold on. Okay, so it's hot in here. The heat is on. It's a sauna. I have a window cracked open and a fan going. I'm trying to keep the noise minimum. I'm ranting right now. Ignore me. So there's the informative. There are people who do the news. They do opinion, like, all these weirdos that seem to get a lot of the right-wing ones, not the left or moderate ones, who get no coverage or exposure at all. We've got all these right wing leaning, except for Good Trouble. That dude, he can get it too. Let me tell you. Good Trouble, or any of those. If you're informative, if you're a budding reporter or what have you, do something like that. Just say, hey, in case you hadn't heard about this thing. And so yeah, and interviews. If you feel like you want to talk to people and share their experiences, and what's the word I'm looking for? Get it out there. You could do an interview show, or videos, or what have you. Then there's the reviews. I tried doing a review. I tried doing review content, and I enjoy watching it. I don't enjoy doing it. Yeah, that's not for me. But you could do that. You can review tech gear, fashion, travel, and places you can review. You can not. I don't want you to think that I'm talking about becoming an influencer, because I don't. I'm not. But if you've used the New York City subway, you can talk about that. This is my experience. If you know, if you're into the history of the subway, you can go to each station and do the history of that station, or what have you, stuff like that. Or and clothing and accessories. I think that a lot of people, since I don't want to say we've become a consumer society, a lot of people spend a lot of money and effort on clothing and accessories and things. Not a judgment, but that's what people do. I've been guilty of it myself, where I have to have that thing if I really. Anyway, you could do that, reviews on clothing and accessories. Um, which brings me to the part that the work part, because what you don't see in this part, like I'm recording this now here in my room, um, a lot of distractions, a lot of whatever. It's not easy, and you have to somewhat stay focused, which it's hard, but I think the way I get distracted is funny, and I'm explaining it, so it's devaluing it. I don't know. Anyway, scripting is the important part. So as you can see here, these are my notes for this, what I'm talking about today, right? The way I do it, because I'm anal in structure, you know, is how I do it. But it's changing on the fly as I'm talking to you, and some of the stuff I did last night before I went to sleep, because I knew I had no questions to answer, so I wanted to have something to post for today. And again, like I said, how can I help people get started? Because a lot of maybe there's someone out there who's like, how does he do this? So scripting, what do you want to talk about? And then what you're talking about might have a subheading, or you might have a note that you want to add to it and keep yourself on track. So scripting is takes thought and work. So throughout the week, as I'm experiencing stuff, I jot a note that, oh, this happened. You want to remember to talk about this, but that, and then you can organize it in a way that is usable to relay, which I'm doing now. And what you see in the show notes is just all of the way that it's set out with the bullet points and all of that is all removed to make chunks to tell you what this topic is about, and it's there for you to read. It just takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of time. And I use the notes app here. Um, uh, I use a sheet of paper or whatever. Sometimes I have a notebook. I'm gonna talk about that next week and for next week's episode. I don't want to give that away. But my notes app is where I keep all of my notes. And it syncs to my computer, so I can work on the computer. If I'm sitting here doing stuff, I'm like, oh, I have it. 1, 2, 3. Jot it down. And what's important to understand is, don't edit yourself. Nothing is wrong. Nothing isn't right. It may not fit with after you review what you've written or what you want to do, maybe it doesn't add up or it doesn't make sense, or you edit it and fix it, but it's not wrong and it's not incorrect, and it's not all of that, everything that's synonymous with wrong. It's what's coming here, you're trying to express it, formulate it, and put it out there. Have no fear. Don't be afraid. Just do it. So, which brings me to the tech part. But before I do that, I just want to make sure I'm not leaving out, because everything now is what's the word? On the fly, I guess. It's not prepared because I had to change this. And there's also another issue, or possibility. You might have to change things on the fly as you go because you want to stick to a schedule. That's a point of conversation. Sticking to a schedule, being consistent. Because I know for me, when I was doing the other posts, staying consistent was the hard part. Where do I carve out the time in my day to do this? So now I'm doing this this morning, and I'm going to edit and then post it and make sure it's scheduled and ready to go. And there's a lot of tools in the programs that you're going to use, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you can schedule these ahead of time where once you get it done, post it, time it, and then keep it moving. You can move on to the next thing. And that's a great tool to have. And I'm glad we have them because it helps stay on a schedule. And it will remove any barriers where you might like, oh, I got to do this or I got to do that. And what do I got to move around? If you know you blocked out this time of day to do this one thing, you're good to go. And there's a lot of content creators. I'm going to put their links in the show notes so this way you can look them up because I've been inspired by many of them in this way, and in stuff that I'm working on that I want to do for the new year. So it could be helpful for you. But scripting is important. Jot your notes down. And you can also put, you don't have to do this the way I do it, where I'm recording this now, I'm going to edit it later and then post. You can do it on the fly where you're going live or you record a video and then you just post it. Hey, I'm in Times Square and there's a great blah, 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 blah. Show it, show it, show it. Da, 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 da. See you out there. Post. That guerrilla kind of shooting is kind of fun too to watch. Like, oh my God, I was just there. I missed that, or, oh, I'm down the block. Let me go check that out. Yeah, it can be exciting and you have to keep it fun for yourself. And I don't know, I'm an entertainer. I'm an actor. I like to do weird things, different things. So this falls into my creativity. All right, so the next thing up is the tech to help you get started. Now, a lot of people, I was stuck in this spiral too, like, oh, everyone looks so professional and it looks so good. How can I do that? I don't have the right equipment. And working in film studios myself, I know what goes, from photographers. I worked with Mike Ruiz on a couple of projects. He needed a PA, and I studied photography in high school and college, so I was familiar with the setup. Although back then we used dark rooms and chemicals to expose film. He's a great digital photographer, but basically he needed someone on hand to help. I learned a lot watching that, and I've been on film sets like for, the Skin Flicks, and with my uncle when he was making films. I'm familiar with the process and stuff that I've done myself. Okay. A lot of the equipment was so advanced and so intimidating that I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible and scary and intimidating. But you don't need all of that. So right now I'm recording on my iPhone 11 using the front-facing camera, and I have 3 lights. I have a holder holding the camera, and above it is a light. To my left is a ring light that I use for my laptop when I'm doing like Zoom calls, or I have an audition, or I have class and we're all Zooming. I had that light there. And then I have a little light on the side over here that came with a handheld tripod thingy for outdoor shooting to give yourself some light. So you have your 3 points of light. Nothing fancy, but it gives me the great look that I want for the video. All inexpensive. I think this thing was $12. That was $20, I think. I don't know. I remember. That came with the bundle, so it was basically the bundle fee. He killed the damn bone. Oh my God. I gotta tell April. Now it's squeaking like it's dying. All right. So it doesn't have to be that expensive and kill the bank or whatever if you only have a few bucks to do. And of course, the mic that I use. Before I had this mic that I'm giving away. So I had this one, and I took the foamy part off, put the wind muffler here, and I had it pinned here. And the receiver was plugged into the phone there. But I sort of upgrade because there was a sale. There was a sale. And so I got this, the HoloLens. And it comes with 2 mics and a receiver. The receiver's in the phone there. And it has a lot of great features that doesn't have. But that I discovered has a noise cancellation feature that's automatic. You don't have to turn it on. So there's that. So your lighting, your mobile device, just set it up. You get something like this. Make sure your background looks kind of cool, Have your pets around making weird noises. um, and do that. So that's that part. Your setup. There it is. Okay. If you want something a little bit more elaborate, you can do that. You can get bigger lights, put them in your living room, and set up a spot on your sofa, and do it that way. Or turn up different side of your room or wherever. Make it your recording space. Or maybe outside. If you're going to be outside and do this, just know this. You have to be really comfortable talking to your phone and having people watch you do this and not worry or care. Try to get someone to help you out because you might need help angling and because going back and forth, like I remember that one time I was recording the whole time, but I never mind. I screwed it up. Um, and be wary of sound because you're going to pick up a whole bunch of noise. Um, so cameras, digital versus your, a Nikon or a Canon or anything like that. I think that right now the way that our devices have evolved to these incredible cameras, because they're really not just communication devices anymore. They've really made them into storytelling devices that you can keep in touch with people with in many aspects. The back-facing cameras, of course, every generation is better. Front-facing cameras are getting better and better as we go along. I don't think it really matters. It just depends on what you're trying to do or what you're interested in doing. Steve Cannell, who has Think Media, check him out on YouTube. I followed him from the very beginning, many, many, many years ago when I was trying to figure out lighting and the most inexpensive things that his tips and tricks to get you started, right? So there was so much that I could do with the minimal stuff that I had that I did it all. I mean, I shot the web series on my iPhone 6S Plus, and we basic lights. I had, a little bit of, I had a tripod. We did it all like that. A little bit of editing and lighting. We were, that was our story, right? So I don't think it really matters. It's just using the features that each phone comes with, and it would really catapult your content. So dive into what your cameras offer, whether it be something like a handheld, Canon, whatever. And I'm saying these names, not any particular reason why. Or your device, your iPhone or your Android device. Look into what each all the features they offer. And I know a lot of the Android devices have so many more features than iPhone cameras can do. So explore those because they might really be beneficial for you. Above all, audio is king. 100% king. Whether it picks everything up or you want to drown out the background, your audio is king because the video can suck. But if people can't hear it right, or there's wind blowing on your microphone and you don't have a wind muffler covering it up, I mean, it's the word. I have really, I mean, someone's got a great video going. I'm like, I just can't focus because all I hear is, it's distracting. And I've been there. So that's that. So yeah, you don't need a lot to start, my friends. You just need the chance to do it. I think that's not what I wanted to say. You just have to believe in yourself to do it. Just do it. Just do it. No, reference to the sneaker company. You just have to do it. Just feel there's no wrong, there's no right. There's just your point of view, your expression. And if that's what you want to do, do it. And you don't have to be on camera like I'm being on camera. You can, do things like, the tutorial stuff. There's a lot of people where they have everything like Flossie Carter, who I watch all the time for tech reviews he does mostly phones and devices now. I miss his sneakerhead videos because I'm a sneakerhead, and I miss his backpack and bag because I love backpacks and bags. But he's all, behind the camera, all of his like review and delving into every aspect of that one product. And he's a great resource. Flossie Carter, Steve Cannell. These are two video, and they're not paying me to reference them. So there's still time. I mean, since no one sent the whole idea was I was giving away these things as giveaways for an AMA, right? So you have here a microphone with the charger, right? You have the receiver, which is also a power USB power through to charge your device as you're recording, as well as a handheld tripod, like I was talking about earlier. It's a carabiner clip. You can carry this anywhere with you. You can set it up with the legs open, and you can hold it up like this. There's still a chance for you to win this or get this. So this is what I'm going to do. Next week is the finale episode, and I'm just going to go through all of my followers, and I'm going to pick. So there's two of these, right? So I'm going to pick one from Facebook, one from Instagram to get these. And my YouTube followers, you're going to get the double bundle, which is 2 microphones, a receiver that has USB and a lightning adapter, just in case. So that's in here. So you get the double that, and that's that. So may the odds ever be in your favor, which reminds me, if you missed this, and this is for the review of the week, I guess this is a spontaneous episode, folks. Spontaneous episode. Did you all hear about the American Hunger Games starting? Apparently, the best athletes from every state are going to come together to compete somewhere, somehow, for some reason. So my question is, what sport? The athlete in what? Isn't that the Olympics? There's so many different sports. There's so many different kinds of athletes. What are we? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna coordinate North Central Park and make it? And then they were like, no, it's not the Hunger Games. I mean, what the actual F is going on? I'm like, who in the, and I don't think it's from him. I think it's someone in his administration. You know what would be really cool? If we got like all the athletes from all the states and got them to compete. We have stuff like that already, I believe. There's the gymnastics competitions, there's Little League, there's the baseball, there's football, there's fencing, there's swimming, there's diving, there's everything. There's running, there's bodybuilding, there's weightlifting, there's arm wrestling, there's wrestling, there's MMA. Hey, let's get one of those idiots from the Oval Office in the octagon. If it wasn't such a farce, it would be really scary, but it's scary and still a farce. So, all right. So, like I said, next week I'm just gonna announce just a few, one winner from YouTube, one from Facebook, one from Instagram, and if you don't see this and you just get a random message from me, hey, I'm giving this away to you. You're a winner. Congratulations. So, all right, folks. Have a great week. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. And if you made it this far, put a Santa emoji or Mrs. Claus emoji or Santa hat. I don't think there's a Santa hat emoji. Put that down here. Oh, remember last week? I was talking about this hat and I found this old timey snowman. That's the one I was talking about. Yeah. So this has started a trend where I put a snowman on. It fits so perfect. So yeah, have a great holiday. Feel free to share this. Please follow on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and like and comment and share and all that jazz. If you're listening, give me 5 stars because it's helping raise me up in the algorithm, and downloading it helps best. But yeah, 5 stars just because I'm cute and funny and dopey and all those weird things. All right, I can't believe we're almost there, folks. Next week is the season finale. I hope you'll be there. It's gonna be a great episode. I think it's gonna be a great episode. So again, first day of winter, bundle up. If you're in New York, it's kind of like spring, so hey, wear shorts. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and I will see you later. Peace out, y'all.